Infant oral mutilation is a practice widely accepted and admired among the Kamba community and other African tribes, though not widely talked about. It is locally known in Kamba dialect as kumiaini, translated directly as removal of false teeth or plastic teeth. Strong cultural beliefs or indicate that the unerupted milk teeth, also referred to as any plastic teeth or nylon teeth, are main causes of persistent fever, vomiting and lack of appetite. It is also believed that certain worms in the gum cause diarrhea and that must be removed, a belief doctors dismiss as baseless and without proof.
The parents think that children diarrhea because of teeth problems, but really it's not because of teeth problems. The diarrhea is because of hygiene issues when the child is teething, but not necessarily caused by the milk teeth. So what happens is that they actually gorge out the teeth that are about to erupt in the child's mouth. And we've had cases of reporting that this practice reduces diarrhea in children. So it's a very common practice. It has been going on for ages, mostly in the eastern and the northeastern parts of our country. And the biggest problem is the fact that the children are subjected to a lot of pain. One, the medicine men don't use hygienic measures to be able to take care of these children, to be able to do these procedures on these children. So they don't glove up. They use instruments that are crude. They use bicycle spokes, they use crude knives and crude, even the spoons, they hit the spoons and twist them so that they're able to gorge out the baby's teeth. So what are done are bad. The process of removing these teeth in children is gruesome and it hurts the children badly. So there's a lot of pain on the part of the children. Sometimes even the mothers don't stay to see the children having this procedure done. They leave the child to a stranger and then they walk out and go into the bush because they can't stand the child crying so much. The other problem, there are very many consequences.
In Masinga sub-county, Machakos County, 4 children have been reported to have contacted HIV/AIDS in relation to the exercise. Doctors say that their parents had tested negative, but the tragedy occurred after they took their children to a traditional healer for the removal of a plastic teeth.
Actually, we've had a case of children getting HIV from these procedures. The parents of the children don't have any virus, but the children have resulted in having the virus on them. So these are some of the consequences, bad results of this procedure. Now the other one is the spread of infections, and then finally the child, after the tooth is removed when they are young, the permanent tooth will not get direction when it's coming into the mouth. So the child results, the outline of the teeth result in being very disfigured, and the teeth don't align properly. So at the end of the day, the child will have crooked teeth, and the parents will want to fix that later in life, and it's even more expensive to do that. So the consequences are really, really bad for this procedure. So what we're saying is that infant oral mutilation does not stop diarrhea. What happens is that when the child is teething, they tend to feel a bit of itching on their gums. So they try to scratch their gums with anything they find, and then they are crawling, so they touch a lot of dirty objects, and that causes diarrhea in children when they are teething. But it is not the teeth that causes the diarrhea. So what alternatives we are giving to the parents is one is actually to observe hygiene when the child is teething, and the second one is to take the child to hospital when there is diarrhea, because we have cases of children dying from diarrhea, and it's really one of the major causes of infant mortality in this country. So it's advising the parents go to the nearest health center and get the child checked for diarrhea. It could be caused by other functions, but not even the teeth that they're trying to remove.
Initially, when a child shows symptoms of dizziness, lack of appetite, vomiting, fever and diarrhea, a traditional healer is consulted to remove the teeth buds, believed to be the cause of illness. The village traditional healer notes the swelling in the areas corresponding to an erupted canines that look paler than other parts of a jaw ridge and relates this to the cause of a child's illness. In most instances, the lower capids are extracted bilaterally, but the extracting and lower incisors has also been reported. Young children presenting with diarrhea and fever are subjected to the extraction of deciduous tooth buds, most commonly canines, as an accepted remedy for their illness. The practice traditionally is done by old men and women healers who are also the beneficiaries of a trade, for it is their main source of livelihood, being paid in cash. Surprisingly, the payment is sometimes a peanut, with some paying 30 or 20 shillings per child. But the myth behind the practice leaves a lot to be desired. It is a belief that whenever a bone is broken, a blood is shed, and that the spouse must not engage in sexual intercourse for a duration of 4 days to ensure a quick recovery. The child should never be touched by a stranger for those 4 days, as breaking those rules can lead to the death of a child and bring a bloodshed curse to the entire family. Francis Muthama is the president of Kinga Africa, an non-governmental organization based at Matu Yate in Machakos County. He says one of the NGO's main objective is to educate the community on how to move out from those primitive, outdated and retrogressive cultures, adding that this organization was facing a lot of challenges in tackling the issue.
There is a myth, a tradition that has been there for years, because as we talk to these community members, no one even knows when this thing started. They just say, look, we found it here, that's why we're doing it. So it's been a huge challenge trying to confront them and say, man, look, this one is outdated. Let's go visit a dentist, do this. You see, changing that has been a very big challenge. And in some places we visit, and the women who are doing this are not willing to leave it, because one, it is the very same place, or rather this practice is what gives them their own living. They earn a living from it. So telling them to leave it becomes a very huge challenge.
And despite financial constraints, the organization is making recognizable trends in eradicating infant oral mutilation in the affected areas by organizing workshops and schools training visits. According to Muthama, the response is quite encouraging, as some traditional healers have been extending the seminars and acquainted themselves with the expertise and hygienic standards required. They have also been organizing free medical camps in villages, visits to learning institutions and government institutions, including prisons, among others. The organization's main concern is the apparatus used during the infant oral mutilation that include metal blades made from spoon handles or bike tire spokes and sharp fingernails. The instruments used are often not sterilized and no tropical anesthesia is used. Among the Kamba, salt, sodium carbonate in form of soda ash and herbs are applied to the area of a gum that is injured during the process without observing hygienic measures, thus exposing the child to new related diseases like HIV, AIDS, tetanus and anemia, among others. And given that the traditional healer involved performs the practice on many children using the same instruments, many children in the areas have been exposed in contracting HIV and AIDS. There's a need to total campaign in order to control the mass and completely stop the practice. Doctors aver that the practice affects the development of permanent teeth and is the main cause of crooked teeth grows on top of the teeth. Dr. Alice Ongeshi continues to say that the pain the children go through cannot be overemphasized, and as a result, the illness is stopped due to the pain and not due to IOM, as many believe. She further says the plastic teeth should not be removed at all. And despite the wrong culture, poverty and illiteracy is also contributing to the practice. Masinga and Yata sub-counties are believed to be amongst the driest regions in Machakos County, with the main occupation being sand harvesting and charcoal burning. The hospitals and dispensaries are kilometers away, and that the area residents claim they can't afford travel to those long distances. They also claim that they can't afford to pay for the medical treatment in those health institutions, and that's why they prefer going to traditional healers as they are cheap.
Hospitali zina mandawa za serikali, lakini ni mbali. Toka hapa kwenda Matu ni 200 kwenda na kurudi.
Dr. Alice continues to say that this is a dangerous myth. She says that careful medical studies have not found teething to cause fever, diarrhea or vomiting, but poor hygiene does. She also says wrongly ascribing this to teething can delay the diagnosis and treatment of serious infections, sometimes with tragic consequences. The Kinga Africa CEO, Francis Muthama, says his organization has started a campaign against infant oral mutilation, IOM, and are making a difference in combating the trend. However, this is not without a challenge, as the beneficiaries of these practices see them as intruders, keen on delinking them from their money-making venture. He says many children in the area have been reported to have succumbed to HIV/AIDS, including dying due to loss of blood and vigorous bleeding. Infant oral mutilation is torture, dangerous, and infringes children's rights. There's a dire need for its eradication. Stop, stop, stop it.